Hey everyone, welcome to Logan's Mosh Pit. Glad to have you here. So this is my second video using my new camera and mic. The first video was posted today, the Memory Lane series video, and I noticed I got some feedback from other people and realized that the quality of the video was a little dark, kind of grainy, so what I did was I bumped up the resolution for this video and let in some more natural light from the window over there, so hopefully that will make the video look better. Right now this is just trial and error, trying to figure out exactly what settings to use. I'm still learning how to use everything. I'm using a new camera, new editing software, and a new computer, so just bear with me for a few weeks until I get all this stuff figured out. Anyway, today we're going to do another episode of the Setlist Snubs series, the place where I pick a few songs from different bands that don't get played live very much. However, I'm going to give you some reasons why I feel like those underappreciated songs actually deserve to get played live more often than they do. If there's a specific band you guys want me to talk about in a future episode of this series, please leave a comment down below. I'll check your feedback. Today we're going to talk about some underrated songs by Soundgarden. I don't have a shirt, sadly. Well, Soundgarden typically was hailed as part of the grunge movement of the 90s, lumped in there with Alice in Chains, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam. Despite being the first of the four to actually bloom, see what I did there, in 1984, Soundgarden kind of gets overlooked compared to their counterparts in the grunge movement. Well, besides their two back-to-back blockbuster albums, Bad Motor Finger and Super Unknown, besides those albums, they don't get much attention, to be honest with you. Those gargantuan albums are what their legacy primarily consists of, what their reputation was built around. They were together from 1984 to 1997, then they disbanded for a while and reunited in 2010. Unfortunately, Chris Cornell's unexpected passing back in 2017 essentially froze the band right where they were. Out of respect for their fallen friends, the other members of Soundgarden basically decided to leave things the way they were. Nevertheless, we still have 6 studio albums of theirs to sift through, tracking down some unappreciated tunes. As you know, before we tackle that, we gotta do a flashback to reasons that explain why all bands, not just Soundgarden, add some songs to the set list and leave others out, purely for the sake of new viewers who might be watching, who have never seen a Setlist Snubs video before. That's why I go over these reasons in every video. If you've watched the Setlist Snubs video before, you can skip ahead a couple minutes so you don't have to sit through this. I just do this for the new viewers. The first reason is casual fans are incredibly infatuated with a band's well-known songs that enjoy a ton of radio airplay. With Soundgarden, this would be songs like Black Hole Sun, Spoon Man, Outshined, etc. Casual fans only worry about the classic songs. The second reason is that many bands cave into pressure which originates from themselves and also the casual fans to implant their biggest hits into the set list. They do that live at shows in order to put fans in a good mood. If fans exit the show content with the songs they heard at the performance, then the band will probably feel relieved, since a substantial amount of those fans will probably buy another ticket to a show later on in the tour. The next reason is that songs off albums that didn't quite cause fans to eat out of the palm of their hand, including Ultra Mega OK and Louder Than Love, those first 2 Soundgarden studio albums. For example, they will make slim appearances live, if at all. simply because the vast majority of fans won't recognize them. The fourth reason is that now and then a band absolutely loathes a particular track from their catalog. So they pretty much scrub that song from their record post-studio. They don't bring it with them to live shows at all. The fifth reason is that casual fans outnumber the amount of hardcore fans. As a result, bands usually obey what the casual fans say. The sixth and final reason is that some songs were never intended to be brought on the road in the first place. They were meant to stay in the studio where they belong. The effects present in those songs are so complex that it would quite frankly be more trouble than it was worth to attempt to copy them live. The transition would lack smoothness that you get from the studio. So now that we've gone over, like always, the reasons why some songs make the set list and some don't, let's go over some essential Soundgarden stats you need to know. I collected these stats off Setlist.fm. I'll put a link to it in the description. To get to Setlist.fm, you just type in the name of the band you're interested in, followed by tour statistics, and then click on the very first result. It'll take you to a long list of songs and tell you approximately how many times each song has been played live over the years. It also gives you information about their tours, albums, pretty much everything. Setlist.fm has it all. According to them, Rusty Cage holds peak position for live appearances at 393 documented times. No time for stage rust to form. Quick math tells us that it would take about 104,931 seconds, or 1.2 days, to listen to Rusty Cage 393 times in a row without any breaks, non-stop. Hopefully that makes sense, puts things in perspective, gives you a better idea of how much Rusty Cage has went with Soundgarden over the years. Now that we've gone over a couple stats you need to know, let's move on to the good part, the juicy part. I chose 5 underrated Soundgarden songs, each off a different album. They have 6 studio albums total. I'll also leave a link in the description to each and every song we're going to go into detail about momentarily. This definitely doesn't cover all the unloved Soundgarden tracks, so there are plenty more. I wanted to pick several underrated songs off Bad Motorfinger, but in the end I just went with one of them. There are plenty more. Before I forget, please comment some more underrated songs down below. That would mean a lot. I arranged these songs in descending order, just like on Setlist.fm, from most played underrated song to least played. The one at the bottom has barely been played live at all. We'll get to that though. So why don't we start off with a song called I Awake off the Louder Than Love album. It has only made the cut 88 times. Here it sounds like Chris Cornell took years of bottled up frustration and finally popped the cork. His voice sounds very scraping and unfiltered. Then around the 1:30 mark he breaks out the big guns. He basically shifts to those iconic high-pitched howls that were completely unique to him. No one else could do that. His screams make your heart skip a beat. At least they do for me. Chris's voice was pretty much a jack of all trades. He could do anything with his voice. Incredibly flexible type of voice. From the highest highs to the lowest lows. His range was amazing. The anguish in the atmosphere of this song instantly won me over. I Awake dissolves into equal parts dark and equal parts hypnotic. If someone asked me to recommend a few Soundgarden songs, I would be a fool if I excluded this one. In fact, I would call I Awake my favorite out of these 5. That's how much I love it. Absolutely adore this song. Next up, I chose Incessant Mace from Ultra Mega OK, and it has shown up just 69 times. Incessant Mace is kind of lengthy, but by no means tedious. Don't get me wrong here. On the contrary, this song is worth every second. Chris really dictates the pace using his voice. Like, even though his voice sounds extremely raw, he gives off relaxed vibes. I picked up on that. He's not trying to force anything in the studio. He sounds very relaxed. He barely has to exert any effort at all. The sound just flows naturally from his lungs to the mic. Working hand in hand with a splintering guitar, I believe this song fights Soundgarden's hits to a stalemate. It holds its own. Next up, I selected 4th of July off Super Unknown. 4th of July popped up a measly 61 times during Soundgarden's tenure. You can skip the fireworks show. This tune packs more than enough firepower. I might be wrong, but my ears detected just a hint of vocal processing. The vocals churned out seemed slightly mechanical in nature. The vocal layering was a nice surprise, though. It feels almost surreal when you mix Chris's raspy voice with his regular non-raspy voice. When you shove those together, the magic really happens. It creates a pleasant combination overall. I love how the lyrics were so bulky, and the solo also emitted a shower of sparks, as you would expect. Soundgarden 4th of July means red, white, and you. So let's move on to my 4th pick, called Boot Camp, off Down from the Upside, which has merely been deployed 45 times. Can't believe it. Drill Sergeant Cornell leads us through a stellar song. The first half featured disorientated instrumentals charging up for something big, building up the power. Then Chris bursts in out of nowhere, catches you by surprise, and steals the show again. He stole the show practically every time he stepped up to the plate. He constantly does the heavy lifting. Indeed, he causes you to visualize a soldier in your mind tarnished by war, someone pushed beyond their limits, waiting for the day when he can finally take it easy, I guess, when everything will be okay. To me, Boot Camp definitely isn't heavy in the audio department, but it certainly is in an emotional way. Carries that heaviness emotionally instead of audio that you would hear with your ears. You feel it in here, not in here. Does that make sense? So finally, I selected a song titled Holy Water off Bad Motorfinger. This was the song I brought up earlier. Unfortunately, it debuted a measly one time, and then it was never seen again. One lucky group of fans got to hear this song, Holy Water, live, and then it was done for. Never showed up again. Everything about this song matches Soundgarden's characteristics. You can easily identify who was behind this masterpiece, even if you're not well versed in Soundgarden tunes. Decorum went right out the window here. Holy Water was, to me, a straight up massacre, all the way through, from start to finish. I just can't believe Soundgarden didn't use this song. They didn't rely on it more often. It was a perfect candidate. By that point, Soundgarden had pretty much shed their skin. They gained confidence. They knew what they were doing. They were ready to show the world what they were made of. Holy Water was, as its name suggests, so extraordinary. Divine intervention might be the only explanation for why it was so incredible. So that's the end of my list. Please leave your list down in the comments down below. Love to see that. So that does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Till then, rock on.